What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to be going through my top 10 most anticipated games of 2021. Now, I hope these all come out in 2021, but there's a good chance some of them will be pushed back until next year. But I hope that they all come out this year because I can't wait to play them. Now, these are in no particular order, so they're just sort of whatever pops up on the screen next. And I'm going to start here with one that I was hoping to be able to play here in February, but looks like it's going to be pushed back even farther. Ankh, Gods of Egypt. Now, what drew me to Ankh in the first place was not even the gameplay, but the designer. I absolutely love almost everything that Eric Lang has done so far. I'm a fan of Blood Rage, one of my favorite games of all time, Cthulhu, Death May Die, Rising Sun. It seems like everything Eric Lang does is for me. And so as soon as I knew that Ankh was coming on Kickstarter, I backed it the first day and never looked back. I could have not even looked at the game for the rest of the Kickstarter and still backed it, knowing one, that it's probably going to be a game that I enjoy, and two, if it's not, I'm going to be able to get my money back being an Eric Lang Kickstarter game. I know there's been some changes with Ankh since then, with Eric Lang leaving, but besides that, I am excited for this game. In Ankh, you are playing as an Egyptian god, trying to get the most, I don't remember what they call it, glory, devotion, I think? The most devotion. And you do that by converting followers, ooh, gross. You do that by converting followers, summoning monsters to fight on your side, building caravans to change the layout of the map. All these things that you are doing to just sort of get your devotion up so that you win, I guess. Anyways, one of the things that I like the most about this game is the catch-up mechanic, where at a certain point in the game, halfway, two-thirds of the way through, there's this mechanic that happens where the bottom two players, if you have a four-player game, whoever is in third and fourth place, get combined together. They merge, where they are now one player. So you go from a four-player game down to a three-player game, which is awesome as a catch-up mechanic, because now this last place single-player person, that is actually two people, is able to catch up with the first person who is maybe running away with the game. Where I'm not sure how good that's going to play out is in the middle, if I'm in second place. If I have first place running away with the game, third and fourth place merging together in order to catch up, then do I, as second place, get left in the dust? Is there a way for me to catch up, or am I just hoping to be able to stay up there with first place? I'm not sure. It's going to take a couple playthroughs to be able to figure that out for me. But regardless, I am excited for Ankh, for the different mechanic that it is bringing to the game. It reminds me a lot of Blood Rage, a lot of Rising Sun, along those same lines, except this one is going to be focused more on devotion than just killing all of your characters, sending them to Valhalla, and getting glory. So Ankh, Gods of Egypt, I'm excited for you. Hurry up and get here. Next, if I can figure out the correct buttons, is Aeon's Trespass, Odyssey. This is one that might end up being pushed back to 2022. They have recently said that they are done with most of it, but need to balance the game. And they said it in a way that almost seemed like, oh, we just need to balance, whatever. Even though that should be one of the biggest things that they are working towards. This is, by and far, in my top 3 most anticipated of 2021. And I didn't even back it. I have almost regretted that decision a couple times. But I would rather pay an extra $100 later down the road to see if this stands up the test of time. After this comes out, see a year later how this game is doing. Are people still liking it? Is it still at the forefront of people's minds, or does it just sort of get shuffled off to the background? That's what I want to see. I would rather spend two or 300 on this game, knowing that I'm going to love everything about it, than spend 150, 140, and realize that this isn't for me. Now, being a major Kingdom Death fan, Kingdom Death is in my top 3 games of all time. This game appeals to me. It's very similar, except set in a Greek setting, ancient Greek, where you are battling with titans and Olympic gods, and you got these primordials. You've got all these awesome giant creatures in this box. Here's a picture of some of the monsters that it comes with. You got some awesome looking things, and I'm excited for those as a minis painter. But again, with Kingdom Death already vying for so much of my time, other campaign games vying for my time, I've got ISS Vanguard coming in the future, I've got other fields to finish, I've got other campaign games that I want to play. I just couldn't bite the bullet at the time. Now, I hope that it stands up the test of time. I really do, because I want to love everything about this game. The art is beautiful. The miniatures are beautiful. The gameplay is awesome. I love that these Kingdom Death, I wouldn't call them spin-offs, but these games in the same form of Kingdom Death are starting to pop up more and more. You've got Townfolk Tussle just recently on Kickstarter. You've had Aeon Trespass. You have others of these games in a similar vein of Kingdom Death, putting their own spin on things. I hope they hold up. I love those games. So Aeon's Trespass, I'm excited for you, but I'm waiting to see what people actually think. You know, I did that with Tainted Grail, right? I wasn't 100% sold on it, didn't necessarily have the money at the time, and now that it's been out for a year, Wave 2 is just, it's either recently shipped or about to ship, I don't remember, and I realized that after watching some playthroughs, watching gameplay, reading all these reviews, that this isn't a game for me. So I ended up saving some money that way. Now, I was fully expecting to pick up Tainted Grail later down the road for an extra $100, but it didn't happen. Aeon's Trespass, I'm excited. Next, we have Oathsworn. I have to admit, I don't know a lot about Oathsworn. I missed the Kickstarter. I missed the late pledge. I still, even after watching a couple videos, don't really feel like I have a grasp on what Oathsworn is. But what I do know is that I'm excited for it, that some of these minis look awesome, and that it's expensive as heck. Look at these. I love that. I want to paint that. I know that it says that it has Oathsworn is a campaign-based game based around humanity's survival against these unnatural horrors. That appeals to me. I love grimdark. I love unnatural horrors within board games and video games. It's got this push your luck sort of system. Do you want to try to deal more damage when you're fighting, or risk at the risk of not being able to deal any damage? It's got this big campaign book that is supposed to have branching storylines. Seems like everything right up my alley, but again, I missed the campaign. I'm waiting to see what people say about this, to see if it stands up to the test of time. And in a year or so, I'm going to revisit it, and I might end up picking it up off of picking up a secondhand copy. We'll see. Oathsworn. Speaking of Oath, I'm also excited for Leader Games' follow-up to Root, well, true follow-up, Oath, Chronicles of Empire and Exile. This is a game that I'm not 100% sold on. I did not back it because I'm not 100% sold on it, but I want to be, right? I love Root. I love everything about it. I love all the different factions, the asymmetry, the hidden war game that is there. I play it on my phone all the time. I have all the stuff behind me, even though I don't have a group to play it with. I've not broke out Clockworks yet, but I have it. And Oath, as a follow-up to that, sounds amazing. In Oath, you have this branching narrative kind of going on in your game where whatever happens in Game 1 is going to impact what happens in Game 5 or 6 or 7. Leader Games put it out as though every box of Oath is going to have almost its own storyline happening, where you're going to have individual games happening. I can get together with a group of friends and play 3 games of Oath, and then get together with other friends and play the same box, but have what impacted, or have those first 3 games and what happened impact what happens later. It's an interesting concept. I'm not sure how it's going to actually work out. I want it to be amazing. It sounds absolutely amazing to have this legacy game that's not a legacy game. To have a game that I can pull out just whenever I want and be reminded, oh yeah, this part of the game is different because of what happened 3 games ago. Or these options are available to me now, or taken away from me in this game because person B did this other thing last game. If it ends up being what I hope it is, what they say it is, this is a game that I could see myself buying multiple copies of. I could see myself having a copy of this just to play solo, so that after 10, 20 games, I can look back and say, okay, this is what I did. While having another copy where I play with friends, whether that's one group or just a variety of friends over time, and have a separate narrative happening over there. Excited for it. I love Root. I think that the game map looks awesome. The asymmetrical characters, that's what Leader Games does. And it looks amazing. I'm hoping it stands up. After Oath, I go on to Root. You might be saying, wait, Root's already out. And you'd be correct. What I'm excited for is the upcoming Kickstarter. Hoping it comes soon. Come on, Leader Games, put it out so that we can get it by the end of this year, even though I know that's unrealistic. Root has a new expansion coming out called Root the Militant expansion. The primary aspect of that is going to be focused around the 2-player experience, they said. I primarily play solo games and games with 2 players with my wife. So having something to do besides just playing the Marquis or Marquess, whatever you want to call them, the cats and the birds, or the moles and the cats, having something else that I can play as, having this 2-player experience focused around Root is what I have been missing this whole time. In the Militant expansion, they said they're adding 2 new factions, the Turtles and the Rats. Again, new factions are always great. Awesome to be able to figure out the synergies and how to play against them and play with them. I'm also excited that they are focusing, I think they said, on these, I don't know what they call them, mini factions. It sounds like they're using, if I understood it correctly, they're using the factions that are already in the game that you are not playing as, and almost putting their presence out on the board, where the game itself will take care of them, almost like an obstacle or an additional thing to have to overcome in a 2-player, 3-player, 4-player game of Root. So, having that little extra in the 2-player game or the 3-player game to sort of round out the experience. Again, sounds like what Root has been missing. So I'm excited for Root the Militant expansion. They don't have any box art or even a page up on BGG yet, which that won't happen until closer to the Kickstarter. But anyways, I'm excited for that. And on a side note, I couldn't find anything about it, but I have heard that Everdell has a new expansion coming out this year. If you know anything about that or heard anything about that, go ahead and leave a comment down below letting me know what you know, because, letting me know what you know. Because, I need that in my life. I need it right now. But again, I've read it in comments. Oh, there's a new thing coming out this year. It's going to be the final expansion for Everdell. But I've not found anything about it. So, if you know anything, let me know below. Next, I have Endless Winter. Speaking of Everdell, this tableau building game of Endless Winter has reminded a lot of people of Everdell, of Lost Ruins of Arnak, of these other tableau worker placement type games. Now, I did not back Endless Winter because I didn't feel like the Kickstarter really added anything that I needed to get right away. While this is one of my most anticipated games of 2021, hoping that it comes out this year, besides adding some sticker type things to some minis and maybe a couple component upgrades, there wasn't much that really drew me to the Kickstarter to say, hey, I need this now rather than waiting for retail. So I'm waiting for retail on Endless Winter for that reason. Again, just to see how it stands up. If it stands up as well as everybody says it is, because it seems like everybody that played this during the Kickstarter loved it, then I can't wait to get it. But again, I'm going to wait, see how it holds up, see how people say it holds up compared to Everdell or Lost Ruins of Arnak. I've seen Board Game Co. put out a video comparing all three of these and coming to different conclusions for different games. So, or was it Everdell? It might be Dune. I think I've been saying Everdell this whole time and thinking Dune. Two very, very, very different games. I don't know what's going on in my brain, but Board Game Co. compared Lost Ruins of Arnak, Endless Winter, and the new Dune game to each other, I believe. I feel like Everdell fits in there somewhere. Maybe I'm making crap up. I don't know. Anyways, I'm excited for Endless Winter, Paleo Americans. I'll get it at retail. Hope I don't kick myself in the butt later for not hopping on it, but, limited money. Have to pick and choose. Next, I'm excited for Dice Theme Park. Now, Dice Hospital had been a game that I was excited for, but after seeing some reviews, some playthrough, it just did not necessarily seem like there was enough going on to keep me interested. While we don't know much about the Dice Theme Park itself, this spin-off game from Dice Hospital, which actually has a Dice Hospital ER expansion coming out as well, this game has a theme that I resonate more with. I feel like theme park games are something that is missing in the board game world. I know they have a couple, but I'm talking about like really good build a theme park type games that I feel like are missing. Which Dinosaur World recently looked like it was doing a very good job of that, having this tableau type system that you're building out where you're adding different themes and rides, different dinosaur exhibits, building out your dinosaur theme park. So that's something I'm excited for that I didn't actually put on this list, but Dinosaur World is up there as well. So maybe instead of Dice Theme Park, I'm excited for theme park games. Anyways, next I'm excited for a game that's been out for 9 years, Ginkgopolis. This is actually supposed to come out, I think they said February, and it's a reprint of a game that has been impossible to find unless you wanted to pay exorbitant prices on it. Ginkgopolis is a city tile laying game where you're building out your city, getting some powers, trying to build off some combos. It's got art that I enjoy, even though overall I feel like the game looks a little drab. I wish that they would have... I think they said that they're just updating sort of one of the pawn markers and the box art. I wish that they would have updated everything if they're going to put something out, but I know that this isn't necessarily supposed to be a complete reskinning of the game, but just a reprint. But I'm excited for it, where you're building up your city, you're adding things to it. My wife absolutely loves Carcassonne, loves tile laying games, so I can see this being a game that we will be able to pull out over and over and over. And the fact that after 9 years, people still talk about this game, people are still willing to pay the jacked up prices in order to get this experience, shows me that it has withstood the test of time. I think it's even in the top 500. Let me see here. Yeah, rank overall, 407. So even there, it has stood the test of time. Once this comes out in the reprint, I will be picking it up ASAP so that I don't miss my chance. Next, a game that I'm not really excited for, and I probably should have put Dinosaur World in this spot, but Hallertau. I know that there are Uwe Rosenberg lovebirds out there, people who will buy anything and everything that he puts out, and this is his new big box game. I mean, that's what he's famous for, right? These big boxes of, I think I've got back here, you probably can't see it, I think it's up top. The Feast for Odin, you've got Agricola, Caverna, La Havre, or La Havre, or however you say it. You've got some others. These huge games that come with so many pieces. Here's some of what comes in this. All this stuff, and these are what he's best at. Hallertau is his newest big box game. What I am excited for the most is being able to get this before... How do I say that? I'm excited to get Hallertau. Even though I'm not necessarily into this type of game, I will be picking it up ASAP. Because it's going to be the first big box Uwe Rosenberg game to come out while I have been paying attention to him. So, sort of to be able to just walk alongside others and play it as it becomes popular, I'm excited to be able to say I had this from the beginning, rather than 10 years later I pick up Agricola. Or I got A Feast for Odin this year and haven't even played it, and that's been out for a couple years. I've never been able to get an Uwe Rosenberg big box game the moment it comes out. The first month or two it comes out. That's what I'm excited for. To be honest, I don't even know how to play this game, but I'll figure that out later. My final one that I am excited for, the Big Daddy itself, Kingdom Death Monster Wave 3, is supposed... Can't even say it with a straight face. Is supposed to come out this year. I know that they started shipping some of the pinups, and have said that this will be coming out. But between the Campaigns of Death and the Gambler's Chest, Wave 3 of Kingdom Death Monster is finally right here. It's now. I'm excited for that. The Gambler's Chest is the big box expansion, just as big a game as the original box for Kingdom Death Monster. Now, if you don't know what Kingdom Death Monster is, then you're missing out, but it's not for everybody. It's an extremely expensive horror genre survival game where you are fighting monsters while trying to maintain your settlement, your home. It's also halfway a miniatures collection type of game. They're always releasing new pinup model type stuff that I'm not into. I don't really care for this kind of sexualization of things, but overall, I'm in it for the horror, the monsters that it comes with. And this Gambler's expansion, Gambler's Chest, comes with a ton of models, a ton of, I think, 7 different monsters, like an entire campaign, including this guy, the Gambler himself, who, look at this model, man. Just got all these humans or people on top of him, just forming a ball. So much going on in this game. You've got the crocodile, the crimson crocodile. You've got Atnis, Santa spelled backwards. I found that out the other day. Don't know how I missed that. But you've got Atnis. You've got all these different monsters that you're finally going to be able to fight against, that we have been seeing for years and years and years. Entire new systems added to Kingdom Death Monster. Philosophy system, a system to go get your gear back. You've got the Bone Eaters. You've got the Scouts of Death, that's what it's called. You've got the Bone Eaters. All sorts of new armor sculpts. Knowledge cards, philosophy, pattern cards, pattern gear. Bro, this has everything. If you were to get one thing besides the base box to Kingdom Death Monster, this is what you need to get. So, I know it's going to be shipping either late this year, hopefully, might even be pushed into next year, knowing how Kingdom Death goes, knowing Adam Poots. Makes a wonderful game. Maybe I'll put a video out on what I think of him another time. I'm sure he's a great person, but as a businessman, it's a different story. But anyways, those are my top 10 games, 11 if you count Dinosaur World, that I am excited for in 2021. I will be picking up most of those, as I have said, and keeping an eye on all of them. If there are games that you are excited for that I did not mention, let me know in a comment. If you agree or disagree with any of these games that I have mentioned, again, let me know in a comment. Go ahead and hit the like button and let me know what you are excited for, because there are just so many games coming out every year that it's impossible to keep track of all of them. So I want you to let me know so that I know what to be on the lookout for. So, until next time, game on.